Welcome to Design Santa Barbara. I'm Michael Korosh, and today we are in Santa Barbara Design Center with historian, philanthropist, and dementia care advocate Deaign Newquist. Deaign, thank you for taking time to talk with us. Can you tell us about some of the interesting individuals you have known in Santa Barbara over the years?
I've been very fortunate, and you know, having been in so many industries, the pharmaceutical industry, the computer industry, the video industry, Alzheimer's industry. So there's a big mix of people that I've met over the years. And I've been very fortunate. I mean, starting with let's say the computer world, I've met Jobs, Wozniak, Markkula, Adam Osborne. My first Microsoft rep was a guy named Bill Gates, and that was...
That's your first rep in Microsoft.
Locally, I mean, David Myrick was a big influence on me. I met a lot of celebrities. You know, I mentioned Jay Leno and...
Well, the next question is related to that. The next question is, Santa Barbara has been home to many famous faces from Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Who are some of the most recognizable that you know have lived here?
I've got to jump into my affiliation with Kirk Douglas and Ann Douglas. I just saw them Friday night. They come up here now maybe once a month. They used to come up here every weekend. But I was fortunate enough with Andrea to go to his 100th birthday party, which you would probably call that the birthday party of the century. I mean, anybody was there as far as Hollywood was going. So I was flattered to have been in that company. But, you know, they're sweet people. They also had their staff there. There were probably 200 to 250 people at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and it was just a wonderful event. So there were many people that gave him tribute. Spielberg did, and of course his son Michael and most of his family members. So that was an extreme honor to know them and be affiliated with them. And that's another thing that'll be valuable to the Montecito Historical Archive, because we've gotten a few pieces from his archive that we're going to save. Andy Granatelli is another good friend who has passed, and I spent a lot of time with Andy Granatelli. And obviously he's of the car world.
The car world, yes.
Yeah, and I still see Dolly Granatelli very often. And those are some that come to mind immediately.
Please tell us more about the work you're doing to keep our vibrant history alive.
Well, working with the Montecito Historical Archive, which is a DBA Montecito Museum, I got involved with Bill Deaign. Basically, I got a phone call, and Jim Hurley was the attorney for the estate at Bellasguardo. I guess Bill got my name through Jim Hurley. Anyway, with David Myrick's archive, I remember having lunch with David, which we did very often, and he talked about the Clark estate very often, talked about Huguette Clark. He actually had conversations with her, which weren't described too well with me, other than the fact that David had collected a lot of materials about the Clark estate. He had all the architectural plans for it. And anyway, probably a year before the publishing of Empty Mansions, I got a call from Bill Deaign. He needed some information about the Clark estate, which I was able to dig through the archive, David Myrick's archive, and find for him. I and the Montecito Historical Archive are mentioned in the book as contributors. Anyway, so we arranged a series of talks with Bill Deaign and Paul Clark Newell, which was co-author of the book. And they came to Montecito and Santa Barbara, gave a series of talks. The biggest one we sponsored at the Montecito Country Club, and it was a sold-out deal. Bill Deaign talked, Paul Newell talked, of course I talked, I introduced him. And the interesting sub-story here, which I tried to promote, was the introduction of Barbara Duran. Barbara Duran Holscher was her last name, or her maiden name. Her father, Albert, was the head caretaker at Bellasguardo. So she grew up on the estate. Anyway, so at the end, the last segment, she came on. And she talked about her experience growing up at Bellasguardo and having tea with Huguette. And she absolutely took the breath out of the whole audience. She was awesome. And it's because of that, and also the encouragement by Bill Deaign, we both egged her on to write her own book, which she has done. And I have a manuscript of that book. It's not finished, and we hope to get that published, and it's called Enchanted Childhood.
When we come back, I want to ask Dana about the incredible story of Bellasguardo Estate. Stay with us. You're not going to want to miss this. Stay tuned. There is more Design Santa Barbara after the break. This week on Michael's Minute, we are going to talk about rug cleaning and restoration. A fine rug is a family treasure often passed on from generation to generation. Rugs need to be properly taken care of to ensure their survival and protect your investment. At Santa Barbara Design Center, we are the foremost experts in professional cleaning, repairing, and preserving your rugs. Rugs should be hand washed every 3 to 5 years to maintain the structure. When was the last time you washed your rugs? Proper cleaning can extend the longevity of your rug, whereas steam cleaning can damage it. Restorations by Rugs & More include hand stitching, fixing fringes and sides, and reviving worn pile. For the finest restoration and cleaning, bring your rugs into Rugs & More at Santa Barbara Design Center today, 410 Olive Street. Today on Michael's Minute, I'm gonna talk about what makes a good sofa versus a great sofa. This one is called Malibu and this is called Malibu 2.0. What makes a difference is, for the Malibu, we use industry standard wrap, which is a polyester. For the 2.0, we use a blend of angel hair, which is a synthetic down, and down itself. On top of that, we use 2 different fabrics for them. For the regular Malibu, we use 100% polyester fabric, which is very long lasting and has 30,000 double rub, which is very durable. For the 2.0, we use the highest quality linen in the market. I would like to invite you to come and see these in person. Come see me at Santa Barbara Design Center, 410 Olive. Welcome back to Design Santa Barbara. I'm here with Deaign on Newquist, and we are going to talk about something that has been intriguing many of Santa Barbarans for a very long time. I, like so many others, have always been fascinated by Bella Squardo Estate and Huguette Clark. Can you please tell us about that?
I can to the best of my ability because, number one, I've been in, around, above, I've been everywhere except in the estate.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I know all about it. I've got pictorials of it. Of course, I know Bill Deadman. I know Barbara Duran. So I can tell you from their eyes, I have not personally been to Bella Squardo, and I can't wait to get there. I mean, I've been promised by many of the foundation members, board members, and the mayor, but I have yet to set foot on the property. So I can only tell you from the experience of others what I know about Bella Squardo. And basically, Barbara Duran's book, and her dad was Albert Hochler, who was the head caregiver. Her book surrounded, it's basically a walk through Bella Squardo. It describes the gardens, it describes the house, it describes the people that were around, it describes, the animals, her having tea with Huguette, and some of the personalities that walk through there. So her book is fascinating. So I got really a historical representation going back 70 or 80 years with her, through her book and her vision. So through that and Bill Deadman's book, that's how I know Bella Squardo.
Very well. My next question is related to that. So what is the current status of this estate?
When Huguette died, it directed that Bella Squardo would be gifted to the city of Santa Barbara, and the purpose is an art museum. Now, most of the art was to remain at Bella Squardo, as far as my understanding. Some of that has been sold off at auction, but there had been a question. Anyway, there was a foundation formed. 19 people became board members, and those are all high-profile people, many philanthropists, many business people, attorneys, and so forth. The problem, though, was the settlement of what was thought to be a debt owed to the IRS somewhere in the tune of $16 to $19 million, back taxes. And also settlement to the different family members, their claims on Bella Squardo or the whole estate. So I probably am ill-prepared because they said in 2011 that it would probably take a year to settle all this. Well, here we are in 17 and it's still not settled.
Still not settled.
So eventually things will get settled, and with that we will have a beautiful estate out there owned by the city of Santa Barbara for the purpose of being an art museum. And exactly how it's utilized and who is going to remain on that foundation board, I'm not sure. But I think because of the time lapse, there's a few of those initial board members may have lost interest or gone on to something else. So there's lots of questions surrounding Bella Squardo, as there have been about Huguette Clark for 100 years, so it's still a mystery.
It's a fascinating mystery, actually.
It is.
When we come back, we are going to talk more with Deaign about his important work taking care of those who need help the most. We will be right back. Today on Michael's Minute, I want to talk to you about transitional rugs. Although still majority of rugs we sell, they are traditional and classical rugs, but nowadays more and more designers and the projects they have requires transitional and modern carpet. On this side, we have a very beautifully handmade rug that has classical designs from Ziegler and Company, Sultanabad. On this side, we have an Uşak design. Uşak is a town in Turkey that originally made classical Turkish designs from 1,000 years to today. They're still making them. This particular one has a classical design, but has all the colors of today's interior. So it's beige with a little bit of eggplant color and gray in it. To see thousands of transitional, modern, and classical rugs, come to Santa Barbara Design Center, Fort and Olive.
Welcome to Rugs and More. We provide the West Coast with the most comprehensive collection of new, oriental, and antique rugs. Rugs are solid art investments and often become cherished family treasures. Our limitless inventory will warm up your home. Exotic or traditional, tribal or modern, our rugs weave stories through intricate patterns, compelling colors, and touchable materials. Number one in Santa Barbara for over 20 years. Visit us today at Rugs and More, 410 Olive Street in Santa Barbara.
Today I want to talk to you about chairs. Chairs come in many different styles and shapes and classical, modern, or transitional look. This particular one is called Sarah, and it is a stationary chair, is a modern look. This particular one is a recliner and is leather and is a very classical look. This one is Barrack and is a swivel glider. Swivel gliders are my favorite chairs and they're addictive. And it is in a transitional look. It is not modern, it is not classical, it is in between, a marriage between them all. And my favorite one is a Santa Barbara chair. We make these out of washable linen, and we make it with blend down inside of it, which is down and angel hair, most comfortable, and is a swivel. If you want to see any of these chairs in person, please come to Santa Barbara Design Center at 410 Olive. Welcome back to Design Santa Barbara. Today we are talking with Deaign Newquist. Deaign, I would like to talk more about your work with Alzheimer's and dementia pensions. Can you share more about what you're currently doing to assist these people in need?
Of course. You know, first of all, one of the questions that always comes up, and it has for years, for 20 years that I've been in the business, what's the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? And, you know, it's just like, it's the same, if you think of it this way, I drive a car. Okay, great. What kind of car do you drive? Okay, I've got a Lincoln. Okay, a Lincoln is a type of automobile. It's a subcategory. Your big category here is dementia. Okay, that's the disease. There's lots of dementias. The biggest one happens to be Alzheimer's. It's just a type of dementia. And they all have fairly similar characteristics. Anyway, I determined over 20 years ago that there was a lot to be done in the dementia business. There was very little known about the dementia business. And so this is something I wanted to tackle.
My next question is related to that. How can people assist in this important work or contact you for more information?
You know, I can be reached at Mission Villa. The phone number at Mission Villa is 898-2709. Of course, we're in 805. And, you know, it's interesting. I've had volunteers come in, and realistically, with Alzheimer patients, the best thing that we can do for them outside coming in is everybody, and you have to do an assessment per person. Not everybody can paint. Not everybody can do a puzzle. Not everybody can do this or that. But they all relate to music. Every one of them. So I have half a dozen or more paid professionals that come in and do music for these people, a variety of different music styles. and they all love it, okay? They relate to it. And on a daily basis, and I'm not a singer, you know, but I usually sing songs with them, okay? It's a connection I have, and I encourage that with other caregivers. But, you know, to become a companion is critically important, and another thing that's critically important is communication.
Wonderful. I would like to thank my guest, Deaign Newquist, for taking time to sit down with us. His work is both fascinating and important. Today on Appraisals, I have a very interesting runner that I acquired 15, 20 years ago, and is very dear to me and has a beautiful story to tell. These pieces are generally utilitarian, and they are ethnographical, and they tell a story. Most of them do if you look really carefully to it. So I'm going to explain about this story as I understood it. So there is this girl that is making the rug. Usually girls were making the rugs, and that was tradition. She lives in this tent, and they live in a semi-agricultural society. You can see these water gardens, little chicken here, little there. We move on, and she introduces a man that is, she's weaving it, so the parents are watching this being woven. So then suddenly there's a new guy in there, so she's actually showing the parents, here, I need to get married, and I like the man that lives in that orange hut and tent, has chickens, has little birdies, has a little dog, and that's a good introduction. So I think they get the message. Goes on, she's very happy. As you can see, she puts a colorful peacock in there. She weaves that in. Keep on going. Probably, as you can see, she moved because of the band of colors. She goes to a different area that has a different density of natural dyes. There she is. She's very happy. As you can see, she's smiling. There is the other siblings. Goes on, still the tent of the desired husband is there. You have the chickens still going on. As we go on, you can see the husband, the future husband, dancing. We have sign of a little comb, it's a sign of purity. And there she is. She's dancing and is happy and is smoking hookah, as you can see. So probably that is the wedding party. And at the very end, there she's happy and smiling. I think she got married to the desired husband. So this piece was woven probably around 1870s, 1880s, and is a treasure. I absolutely like it because of the story. It's a great condition. It's woven in Bijar, West Iran, and probably is a Kurdish woman or a Kurdish girl at this point. Long gone, actually. The rug was woven in 1880, and she was probably a teenager back then. You can imagine how old she would have been now. I appraise this just because of the story alone should be worth a lot more than the value of the rug. But the rug itself, today, $10,000 to $15,000. Again, if you want to see the runner in person, please come to Santa Barbara Design Center at 4th and Olive. Today on Appraisals, we have 3 different batiks. Batiks are ancient form of creating designs that they're mostly repetitive, but they're also precise. They have little stamps that they dip in different sort of natural dye, and then they stamp it, and then they come back and they generally hand dye it one by one inside the motifs they have created. I have 3 different ones today, and 3 different applications. So this particular one is made in Isfahan, Iran, and it is kind of a very simple way to do it. They have large boutiques that they repeat. Each one of these motifs they create once and then use it over and over. It is probably 1960s, 1970s. It retails for $100 to $200. Next one we have is a similar concept, just substantially finer. This particular one comes from a town, central town in Iran called Yazd, and is the scene of paradise basically, and has a lot of detail, a lot of elements. Has taken quite a long time for a master to make. And as you can see, the very, very top, they have this lion and the sun motifs. That's beautiful. And that peacocks in the bottom, cypress trees, sign of grace. This particular piece is very fine and detailed and is in very good condition, has original backing. It retails between $4,000 to $6,000. All right, now we go to the cream of the crop. This particular one is called the Palampour. Palampour is the batik technique plus dye more than resist. So what they do is they stamp it first, and then the dyes are not hand painted. The dyes go one step at a time into a batch of dye, then the wax that has been applied to make sure certain areas get the dyes, they move the wax and then they dye it again, so that dye over dye over dye creates this fabulous design. This was made in India around 1750s, and they were majority exported to aristocracy in Europe for purposes of covering the beds. It is very rare because they have been used, as you can see, over 250 years, and bed covers generally don't last. This one being a very, very fine cotton and linen, has fabulous colors. The bottom part is again Garden of Paradise, and as you can see, lots of shrubs and birds and beautiful flowers. Nowadays they have been appreciating in value. This particular one in an auction would say if there's somebody that really wanted it, it could go up to $80,000 to $90,000. Again, thank you for joining us for the appraisal this week. Looking forward to see you next week.